My mother mortgaged her house to fight me in court, all to defend my convicted brother's right to be near my 3 daughters. After he stalked our home, crashed a birthday, and gave them dolls dressed like them. I was walking back from the grocery store when my phone buzzed. The name that popped up made my stomach twist. Brent. Not him directly, of course. It was a news alert. Former youth basketball coach released after serving 12 years. My brother. Out. My name is Jordan Bryant. I'm 39 years old, live in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I have 3 daughters, ages 5, 8, and 12. And I'm the guy whose brother molested a child under his supervision and destroyed what little family we had left. I hadn't spoken to Brent since the trial. I didn't visit, didn't write, didn't even tell my girls he existed. And then, not even 12 hours after the news broke, my mom was on my doorstep. "Jordan," she said, already pushing past me into the living room. "We need to talk." She had a tote bag slung over her shoulder like she was selling something, and when she sat down, she started unloading it. Pamphlets, glossy booklets with crosses on the covers, and a stack of what looked like certificates printed on cheap stock paper. GED, anger management, victory in Christ Men's Group, and something handwritten that said, peer facilitator training, unofficial. "Mom," I said slowly, "what is this?" She smiled like it was obvious. "Proof. Brent's changed. He's not the same man who—" She caught herself. "He's earned a second chance." I sat down across from her. "He's a registered sex offender. I have 3 daughters. One of them is the same age as—" "People change, Jordan." She was already in defense mode. "Prison broke him down. God rebuilt him. You think I'm blind? You think I didn't struggle with what happened? But Jesus forgives. And I'm not going to bury my son just because you can't let go of the past." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You want me to, what? Invite him over for dinner? Let him be Uncle Brent again? Buy him a Hallmark card that says, 'Sorry you raped a kid, but welcome back to the barbecue'?" She flinched. "Don't say it like that. That's what happened." Her eyes sharpened. "He served his time. The system forgave him. Why can't you?" I stood. "Because my job is to protect my daughters, not tiptoe around your delusions." She slammed her hand on the table. "He is still your brother. He was my brother." I picked up the stack of certificates and dropped them back in her tote. "Now he's just a danger." That's when she snapped. "You are punishing him. And you're punishing me. You think you're better than us? With your white picket fence and your precious daughters?" She stood too, voice rising. "You are tearing this family apart, Jordan. Not Brent. You. I'd rather tear it apart than hand it to a predator." She grabbed her bag and stormed toward the door. "You'll regret this. You'll see." The door slammed hard enough to rattle the wall. I stood there alone, staring at the cross-stamped pamphlet still on the table. That was the day I knew this wasn't over. Not even close. A week later, I got a text from Mom that said, "Left something for you at the house. Just swing by when you get a chance. No pressure." I should have known. I did know. But I still pulled into her driveway that Saturday afternoon with the engine running, thinking I'd be in and out in 5 minutes. I was just there to grab my grandfather's old pocket watch, something she claimed I'd said I could have when the time was right. Apparently, the time was now. When I stepped up onto the porch, I could already hear laughter inside. Not the usual quiet murmurs of an aging mother watching daytime TV. This was full volume, echoing down the hall. Too many voices. I froze with my hand halfway to the doorknob. And then the door opened. "Daddy," my youngest, Lily, squealed as she ran out and wrapped herself around my legs. "Lily." I bent down, stunned. "What are you doing here?" Before she could answer, I saw them. All 3 of my girls were inside the living room. And standing beside them, like some twisted magician conjured him out of a hat, was Brent. He was smiling. "Jordan," he said, almost sheepishly. "Hey man." Time slowed. I grabbed Lily and pulled her behind me, stepping inside just far enough to shield the girls. "Girls," I said sharply, "get your coats. We're leaving." Mom appeared from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a dish towel like this was the most normal Saturday in the world. "Don't do this," she said softly. "Don't ruin it." I looked at Brent. He was still standing there with that faux humble smirk, holding a rap board game under one arm like he was just another uncle showing up with a gift. The girls were frozen, not scared, just confused. My eldest, Tessa, looked at me and whispered, "Is that really him?" I turned to face the room. "Yes," I said loud enough for everyone to hear. "That's your Uncle Brent. He went to prison for molesting a child your age, Tessa, and he is never to be around you again. Ever. The silence was instant. Tessa's mouth dropped open. My middle daughter, Ava, looked to our mom for some kind of explanation. And Mom? Well, Mom looked horrified, but not at Brent. At me. How dare you, she spat. You just said that in front of your own children? What is wrong with you? I ignored her. Girls, coats. Now. Lily was already halfway to the hallway, but Ava stood frozen, still holding the cup of juice Brent had apparently handed her. Then Rachel, my sister, popped out from the hallway like she'd just been waiting for her cue. You're disgusting, she hissed. Traumatizing your daughters? For what? Control? I looked around the room, the betrayal crashing down all at once. Rachel, Mom, Brent. Everyone knew. Everyone planned this. You all set this up, I said, voice like gravel. It was a chance, Rachel said, folding her arms. To heal. But you'd rather raise them in fear. Tessa grabbed her coat off the hook. Dad, are we safe? My voice cracked a little. Always. I got them out fast. Didn't look back. By the time we got home, the smear campaign had already started. Rachel posted a selfie with Brent and a caption, "Forgiveness is stronger than fear. Family over everything. Hashtag second chances, hashtag healing." Mom went full televangelist. Don't let hate lead your home. Brent is a child of God now. Pray for Jordan. He's lost. By morning, my inbox was full of tagged posts and thinly veiled jabs. People I hadn't spoken to in years were sharing Bible verses and passive-aggressive quotes about keeping bitterness from poisoning the tree. They didn't care about the truth. They cared about the story they could control. And the villain? Was me. It was Tessa's 12th birthday, and she'd picked the ice rink for her party. We rented out the whole place for 2 hours, just her classmates, some pizza, and her favorite playlist echoing off the cold walls. Nothing fancy, just safe. Just normal. Or so I thought. Halfway through the party, I was tying Lily's skates when Ava tapped my arm. Daddy, she said, Uncle Brent's here. I almost laughed. I thought she was joking. Then I stood up. And there he was, standing by the bleachers like he belonged there, holding a gift bag in one hand and waving with the other. I moved fast. Crossed the rink in seconds. What the hell are you doing here? I said under my breath, blocking his path. Brent didn't flinch. I just wanted to give Tessa something. I heard she liked sports. It's just a gift. I looked down. The bag he was holding had tissue paper sticking out the top, pink and white. Inside, I could see the corner of a doll box. I pulled it out. It was a doll in a girl's basketball uniform, knee pads, jersey, ponytail, even a tiny clipboard with fake plays on it. My stomach dropped. Leave, I said flatly. Now. Jordan, my mom's voice called behind me. Don't make a scene. This is from her uncle. It's sweet. She was smiling. Proud, even. What the hell is wrong with you? I snapped. Do you not see what this is? I looked back at Brent. His eyes darted between me and Tessa, who hadn't noticed any of it yet. She was still on the ice, laughing with her friends. Brent shrugged, casual. It's just a doll. You gave her a doll that looks like her. In athletic gear. At an ice rink. You think that's nothing? Parents nearby were watching now, whispering. Then, one mom pulled out her phone and froze mid-scroll. She turned pale and yanked her kid off the ice. Oh my God, she said. He's on the registry. That's him. Panic moved through the crowd like a ripple. 2 more parents grabbed their kids. Someone called the manager. Tessa finally noticed. Her friends were leaving the ice in a hurry. Dad, she called. What's going on? I didn't answer. I was already grabbing Brent by the collar and walking him toward the exit. Call the police, I told the rink staff. He's a convicted sex offender, and he just crashed a child's birthday party. Brent didn't fight. He just smiled like he was the victim. The party ended early. Tessa didn't even open her presents. The next morning, I filed for a restraining order. Fast-tracked it through the county. Emergency hearing. Immediate ruling. That afternoon, Diane showed up at my front door. She looked tired, but not sorry. You didn't have to go that far, she said quietly. He was just trying. Trying to what? I snapped. Target another girl? She held out a folder. Legal documents. She was mortgaging her house to hire Brent a lawyer to challenge the restraining order. You're sick, I said. No, she corrected. I'm a mother. You'd do the same. She walked off the porch like she was delivering groceries. That was the day I realized. She wasn't just enabling him. She was arming him. After the incident at the rink, my wife, Emily, and I stopped waiting for this to end on its own. We started treating it like a siege. We kept a binder, literal, physical, fireproof. Every voicemail, every social media post, every video clip, every envelope, every screenshot. Diane's letters with underlined Bible verses. Rachel's texts about parental alienation. Brent's sudden, coincidental appearances at public places. We logged it all. Dated. Time-stamped. Indexed. We weren't paranoid. We were methodical. Brent started jogging past our house. At first, it was once. Then again 2 days later. Then daily. Always the same route. Slow, steady, like a performance. Every time he passed, he waved. Not at me, at the girls. If they were on the porch, or in the yard, or even visible through the front window, he made sure they saw him. "Hi girls," he'd call. "Hope you're having a good day." My youngest, Lily, once waved back, out of instinct. She didn't understand yet. I nearly lost it. Emily caught my arm before I stormed outside. We document, not escalate. That became our rule. When Ava saw Brent outside her school, standing across the street, I filed another police report. They said he wasn't violating the order, technically. He wasn't on school property. He wasn't making contact. He was just there. I asked the officer, how many times does someone have to just be there before it becomes stalking? He shrugged. Depends on the judge. Rachel tried to pick up the girls from school one afternoon. Said she was on the emergency contact list. She wasn't. We had removed every single extended family member from school forms. Only Emily and me. No one else. The school called immediately. Rachel left angry. She called it a misunderstanding. Said she was just trying to be helpful. Then I got a text from Diane. Cutting your daughters off from their blood is abuse. God sees what you're doing. We printed that too. The girls were confused. They missed Grandma, even if they didn't say it out loud. They missed birthday cards from Aunt Rachel, Saturday pancakes at Diane's, the tiny holiday rituals that had been part of their lives for years. They didn't understand why those things suddenly came with locks on the doors and whispered legal advice. But they were learning. Slowly, Tessa started asking harder questions. Why is Grandma trying to help Brent if he hurt someone? We didn't sugarcoat it. Because some people don't care about the truth when it makes them uncomfortable. Emily's job started noticing. Anonymous complaints were being made to HR, claims that she was verbally aggressive in staff meetings, that she belittled co-workers. Her supervisor pulled her aside. I'm not saying I believe it, she said, but someone's targeting you. Same thing happened to me. Emails sent to the school board. I work in district IT, claiming I had a violent temper. Dangerous energy, one email said. All unsigned, all vague, but all just credible enough to sting. We hired a private investigator. Not to go after Brent, to monitor them. He confirmed what we suspected. Diane and Rachel were coordinating visits to our known hangouts. The girls' gymnastics studio, the local park, the library. They weren't violating the restraining order, not exactly, but they were dancing the edge of every rule we'd made. I sat down one night with a map and started drawing concentric circles around our home, the school, Emily's job, my job, and the girls' extracurriculars. Like a military diagram. Our life, under quiet invasion. Emily rubbed her eyes. What do we do when they start trying to pull the girls into court? I didn't answer, because I'd already started calling every family lawyer in the county, not to hire them, just to consult, to conflict them out. I wasn't waiting for war to break out. I was already building our fort. The message came from an unexpected number. Hey, it's Janelle. Can we talk privately? It's about your mom. It's bad. I hadn't heard from Janelle, my cousin on my dad's side, in almost a year. She had always stayed neutral, drifting between family events without taking sides. The kind of person who smiled a lot and never posted anything remotely personal online. Vanilla in every direction. So when she reached out, I assumed it was some guilt trip waiting to happen. I was wrong. We met in the back corner of a local coffee shop, where she arrived with sunglasses, a hoodie, and a manila envelope tucked under her arm, like she was smuggling state secrets. I've been in the group chat, she said as soon as we sat down. What group chat? She didn't answer. She opened the envelope and slid over a stack of printed screenshots. It wasn't just a group chat. It was a full-blown family coalition. Mom, Rachel, 2 aunts, one of Brent's old church support friends. Even Brent, under a new account. They were tracking our movements. coordinating public sightings, coaching each other on legal strategies. I read a message from Diane that said, if we can get enough evidence of emotional alienation, we can start building a grandparent rights case. Don't engage directly, just collect. Keep your phones recording. Another one from Rachel. Got a video of Tessa looking upset after school. Could spin that into emotional distress if needed. Then a third. Brent, under his alias. If we can't win the courts, we win the community. Paint him as paranoid. Obsessed. Make the girls think he's the unstable one. I felt something in my chest. Not quite fear, not quite rage. Just nausea. How long have they been planning this? I asked. Janelle looked guilty. Since before the rink. This has been going on for months. I didn't say anything because I thought it would fizzle out. But they're getting worse. She reached into her bag again and pulled out a flash drive. Everything's on here. Messages, voice memos, a few videos. I saved it in case something happened. I stared at her. Why are you doing this now? She hesitated. Because you're the only one protecting those girls. And I'm tired of pretending like what Brent did was just some ugly footnote. He ruined a kid's life, and now he's walking around like he's the one who's been wronged. It's disgusting. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. Then I said, thank you. That night, Emily and I watched the videos. We took turns scrolling through the archive of lies. Screen recordings of Diane telling people I was mentally unstable. Drafted letters to a judge full of manipulated timelines. A spreadsheet, a literal spreadsheet, labeled Public Sympathy Plan. And the worst part? One of the videos showed Brent and Diane sitting in a car across the street from our house for over 3 hours, engine running. Just watching. No interaction. Just waiting. I printed out the screenshots, filed them in the binder, logged the footage, made digital backups on 3 encrypted drives. But even with all the evidence stacked neatly in a folder, I felt the walls closing in. This wasn't just harassment. This was a campaign, coordinated, rehearsed, and escalating. And now, we finally had proof. But proof didn't fix the dread in my daughter's voice when she asked, Dad, why do they hate us? I didn't have an answer. All I had was the truth. And now, thanks to Janelle, so did the courts. The courtroom was packed. It looked like a church service and a family reunion had collided and spilled into civil court. Brent sat at the defense table in a navy blazer and a tie so tight it looked like it was choking him. Diane sat beside him, hands clasped in prayer, tissues already tucked into her sleeve. Behind them, rows of church friends and extended relatives, all dressed for sympathy, all ready to perform. On our side, there was me, Emily, our lawyer, and Janelle, sitting near the back with her hood up, eyes down. Before the judge even walked in, I knew how this would go. This wasn't about facts. This was theater. And Brent's people had rehearsed their lines. The judge, older woman, early 60s, no-nonsense face, called things to order. We started. Our attorney laid everything out. The harassment, the stalking, the recordings, the video of Brent at the ice rink, the footage of him jogging past our house, waving at the girls, the group chat logs, the spreadsheet, the doll, the damn doll. I watched the judge's eyes flicker at the mention of that, a child-size athlete doll given to a minor by a registered offender. Her mouth tightened. When it was their turn, Diane took the stand. She started crying before the first question. My son has suffered, she said, voice trembling. He's paid for what he did. But Jordan, my own son, he's trying to erase him. He's poisoning my granddaughters against their family. Then came the part I'll never forget. I raised my boys in a home of faith. And Brent found God in prison. All we want is healing. But Jordan wants punishment. Emily's hand squeezed mine hard enough to leave marks. Rachel testified next. Calm, composed. Claimed she was concerned for the girl's emotional well-being and said I was excessively controlling. She called our binder of evidence obsessive. Then Brent took the stand. He looked downcast, meek, careful. He said all the right things. I understand the pain I caused, he said. Not just to the victim, but to my family. I'm not asking for trust. Just a chance to show I'm not that man anymore. He made sure to look directly at the judge when he said, I've followed every law. I haven't violated the restraining order. I've tried to keep peace. But Jordan won't allow it. On the way out, when the judge called recess before her ruling, Brent leaned close as we passed in the aisle. I'll be back, he whispered. Just loud enough. Emily had to pull me back. When the ruling came, it felt like air being let out of a balloon. 1-year restraining order is granted. Mr. Brent Bryant is not to come within 300 feet of the minor children or the petitioner's residence, school, or place of employment. Violation will result in criminal contempt charges. I almost smiled, but then she continued. Diane Bryant is granted monthly supervised visitation with her grandchildren at a neutral facility. Mr. Brent Bryant is to have no contact during these visits. Emily gasped. What? She muttered under her breath. The judge looked at me. This court believes Mr. Bryant poses a clear risk to the minors. However, Ms. Diane Bryant has not committed a criminal offense. A structured, third-party setting will allow for safe contact while preserving the children's rights to family continuity. Family continuity. That was the phrase she used. Brent's face barely changed. Just a small twitch in his jaw. Like he already knew this was step one. Like he didn't mind waiting. I looked at my daughters from across the courtroom, and I realized I hadn't won. I'd only slowed them down. The wolves were still at the door. Now I had a lock, but the key was still in their hands. The court order kept Brent away, but it didn't stop the war. They adapted, like weeds around concrete. Diane started showing up early to the girls' school recitals, planting herself in the front row like she belonged there. She never spoke to them, never broke the rules. She just smiled. That soft, wistful, poor grandma frozen out by her cruel son smile. Other parents began whispering. A few even approached me. Is it true you're keeping the girls from their grandmother? I kept my responses short. The court allows supervised visits. She wants something else. Diane always stayed just inside the line of legality. But Rachel didn't. She started volunteering at Lily's dance studio, showed up at the park during Ava's weekend soccer scrimmage. One day, I caught her slipping a small envelope into Lily's backpack when she thought no one was watching. I opened it in the car, a card that read, "Grandma loves you. Uncle Brent says hi." Inside was a tiny laminated photo of the three of them from 10 years ago, before everything, before the trial. Tessa was barely 2. I took it straight to the attorney. Another log on the fire. At home, things got worse. Our security camera, front-facing, motion-activated, began glitching. The app said, offline, at random hours during the night. I climbed onto the porch one morning to reset it, and found the power cord partially cut, just enough to kill the feed, not enough to be obvious. We upgraded everything. New cameras, battery backups, cloud storage. Then one night, I was taking out the trash and saw it. A box, wrapped in silver paper, sitting in the girls' playhouse. Inside, 3 dolls. Each one had hair color and eye shape matching each of my daughters. They wore handmade clothing, not store-bought. Little name tags. Even a plastic basketball at Tessa's doll's feet. No note. No card. Just left there in the dark. Emily found me in the driveway later, still holding the dolls, trying not to punch the wall. Put them in the evidence bin, she said quietly. The girls grew quiet. Moody. Conflicted. Every week, it got a little harder. At therapy, Tessa finally said it. Dad keeps saying they're dangerous, but Grandma sends nice things. And she says she forgives us, even though we're mean to her. That word, us, cut deeper than anything else. Because to Tessa, this wasn't about a predator or a restraining order or legal strategy. This was about being torn between 2 homes. 2 truths. I hugged her that night longer than usual. The next week, we got another visit from CPS. Same polite knock. Same forced smile. We got an anonymous tip. Said you were emotionally isolating your kids and refusing court-ordered family contact. They found nothing. Again. But they left a form. Again. I asked the agent. You realize this is harassment, right? She gave me a tired look. We get these a lot. There's only so much we can do. Meanwhile, the girls started pulling away. Not just from Brent's side, from us. They were anxious. Distracted. Tessa stopped smiling in photos. Ava started biting her nails again. Lily started wetting the bed. Then the lawsuit came. Brent, through Diane's lawyer, filed a defamation claim against me. Said I had maliciously misrepresented the nature of his criminal past and caused emotional distress through public smearing and deliberate alienation. The irony nearly choked me. They'd spent a year invading our lives, gaslighting our children, and weaponizing religion. And now I was the abuser? My lawyer wasn't worried. It's noise, she said. They're trying to create leverage. But Emily and I knew better. This wasn't about winning in court. It was about wearing us down, confusing the girls, forcing us to make mistakes. We were living in the shadows of compliance, technically safe, technically protected. But every knock at the door felt like another trap. Every smile in public felt like bait. And every night, we checked the playhouse, just in case. It was a week before Christmas when the supervised visit took place. A county office, one-way mirror, fluorescent lighting, folding chairs. Nothing about it screamed holiday cheer. But Diane came dressed like it was a Hallmark movie. Red knit sweater, matching earrings shaped like ornaments. A tin of cookies she insisted were just store-bought, even though the scent of cinnamon and nutmeg made it clear they weren't. She greeted the girls like nothing had happened, like this wasn't court-ordered, like she hadn't tried to destroy our lives piece by piece for the past year. The visit's supervisor, a kind-eyed woman named LaTanya, sat in the corner with a clipboard, jotting notes. I waited just outside with Emily, arms crossed, watching the clock like a hawk. It was Lily who cracked first. "Grandma, are there presents at your house?" Diane smiled. "Oh, honey," she whispered, just loud enough for LaTanya to pretend she didn't hear. "There's something very special waiting for you. Uncle Brent picked it out with me. But don't tell your dad. It's a surprise." Emily's face went white. She'd been reading lips through the glass. I pushed off the wall. "We pull them now." "No," she said through clenched teeth. "We document." LaTanya must have sensed something too, because she ended the visit 10 minutes early. Said the girls looked overstimulated. But the damage was already done. That night, a box appeared on our porch. Wrapped in gold foil, no note. No sender. Inside, 3 dolls again. Same hand-stitched clothes. Same hair and eye color matching our daughters. This time, they were dressed in pajamas, red and green flannel. Little stuffed stockings in their hands. Each one had a letter tucked into its lap. Typed. Folded. Signed. "With love, from Uncle Brent. Merry Christmas to my favorite girls. Don't listen to mean people. They don't know what forgiveness looks like." Tessa found them before we did. She was excited at first. "Look, it's like they're us." Then she read the letters. She didn't speak for the rest of the night. We called our lawyer in the morning. "They're trying to provoke a reaction," she warned. "Don't give it to them. Build the record. Keep the evidence chain intact." But it was hard, because the girls started asking the real questions. "If he's so dangerous," Ava said, "why does Grandma keep saying he loves us? Is she lying?" I didn't know how to answer. By Christmas Eve, Diane filed for expanded visitation rights, citing emotional regression in the children due to prolonged separation. She was using the dolls as leverage. In the petition, her lawyer referenced emotional gifts and handmade family tokens as evidence of Brent's harmless affection. Said the girls' bond with their extended family was being actively damaged by hostile parenting decisions. The worst part? She was using the settlement money from Brent's defamation suit to fund it. I'd agreed to a quiet settlement weeks ago, thinking it would end the legal harassment. It didn't. It just gave them cash and momentum. But we had one thing they didn't expect. The fine print. Tucked into the settlement agreement, on page 6, line 24, was a clause. Any contact, direct or indirect, between Mr. Brent Bryant and the protected minors shall nullify this agreement and render the settlement void. Brent had violated it with the dolls, with the letters, with the gifts. Our lawyer filed a motion within 24 hours. The court agreed. Settlement, canceled. Funds, frozen. Expanded visitation, denied. But the girls didn't understand the win. They didn't cheer. They didn't smile. On Christmas morning, they opened their presents in silence. Lily finally whispered, "Did we do something wrong?" And I couldn't lie to her. I just held her tighter and said, "No, baby. You did everything right." Because the truth was simple. It wasn't the girls they were after. It was me. And I was the only thing standing in their way. Tessa turned 13 in April. She didn't want a party. Just dinner with her sisters and a movie night at home. We made spaghetti and garlic bread, her favorites, and decorated the living room with balloons from the dollar store. Simple, safe, quiet. She seemed better lately. Quieter, sure, but grounded. She laughed more. She looked me in the eye again. We thought maybe, just maybe, the worst had passed. Then the envelope came. No stamp. Just left in the mailbox. 3 birthday cards. One for Tessa. One for Ava. One for Lily. All signed Uncle Brent. Tessa opened hers before we caught it. Inside was a photo of her, maybe 5 years ago, sitting on Brent's shoulders at a family picnic. She didn't remember the picture, but she recognized the handwriting. It said, "No matter what they say, I'll always love you. You're stronger than the fear they feed you." I didn't shout. I didn't panic. I just grabbed the binder, slid the cards in with the others, and texted our attorney. Brent had violated the no-contact clause. Again, we filed for contempt the next morning. In court, Brent's lawyer tried the usual games, claimed someone else delivered the cards, said it wasn't direct communication, suggested the envelopes could have been planted. But we had photos, video from the neighbor's doorbell camera, time-stamped footage of Brent's cousin, the same one from the group chat Janelle exposed, pulling up to our curb, slipping something into our mailbox, and driving off. The judge fined Brent and warned him again. Any further violation will result in criminal charges. It was a win, but it came with aftershocks. After the ruling, the group chat leaked again. Janelle sent new screenshots. They were panicking. Diane blamed Brent, said he'd ruined everything. Rachel accused Diane of going too far with the doll thing. The family fractured almost overnight. Half of them turned on Brent. The other half turned on me, harder than ever. Diane tried to pull funding for his legal defense. The mortgage she'd taken out gone. She couldn't afford the payments. The house, the same one where the ambush happened, was listed for sale within 2 weeks. Brent disappeared from public view after that. No more jogs. No more appearances. No more whisper campaigns. It was like he folded into the shadows. But something else changed too. Tessa started to get it. She asked one day, "Why did he send that card?" "Because he wants control," I said. "He wants to make you doubt what's real." She thought about that for a long time, then said, "I don't want to see him again." Neither did Ava or Lily. They stopped asking about Grandma. They stopped mentioning Rachel. They were tired of trying to make sense of people who only loved them when it suited their agenda. The court's supervised visits with Diane didn't end, but they changed. They became cold, short, sterile. The girls sat in silence, answering questions with one-word responses. LaTanya, the visit supervisor, said it was like watching strangers sit across from each other on a bus. No warmth, no connection, no joy. And honestly, that was fine with me, because for the first time in years, they saw it. Not just Brent for what he was, but all of them. The whole network. The manipulation. The show. The lies painted in pastel. The girls finally knew who was safe, and who would never be. That summer, we stopped locking the playhouse. The cameras stayed up, the alarms stayed on, but some of the tension finally left our shoulders. No more surprise visits. No more fake presents. No new letters in the mail or cards slipped into backpacks. For once, the silence felt like safety. My name is still Jordan Bryant. I still live in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I still check every back seat before driving my kids anywhere. But now, at least, I do it from a place of caution, not panic. Tessa goes to therapy every Tuesday after school. Sometimes Ava tags along. Lily prefers art class, where she's been drawing bright yellow suns with huge, open smiles. Her teacher says she's starting to giggle again. Emily and I have been rebuilding in small ways. We have Friday night pizza and movie nights again. We go for walks without scanning every corner. We've even started planning a weekend trip out of town, the first in 2 years. Janelle still keeps an eye on the family's group chat. Most of the relatives have either left it or gone quiet. The momentum's broken. The campaign is over. And Diane? She hasn't called in months. I hear through back channels she moved into a condo near the city. She tried to keep the church involved at first, but after the court filings, the restraining orders, the violations, the financial collapse, even her most loyal supporters stopped showing up. Brent filed an appeal. It was denied. Quietly. Quickly. There are no more cards. No more dolls. No more whispers outside the school gates. And the court ordered any future petitions for visitation or contact to require psychological review before they'll even be considered. It's not a forever victory, but it's enough. I've come to realize that protecting your children isn't a moment. It's not one courtroom win or one line drawn in the sand. It's a lifetime of showing up, saying no, holding the line, even when it hurts, even when it costs everything. And it did cost us. We drained our savings fighting this. Emily had to step back at work. I burned PTO just to keep up with court dates and counselor visits. Some of our neighbors still give us weird looks, unsure of what really happened. I don't blame them. The truth isn't neat. It's ugly. It's slow, and it almost always looks unreasonable when you're the only one screaming while everyone else keeps smiling. But we're okay. Scarred, maybe. Tired, absolutely. But okay. The girls know who they are now. They know what was done to them and what was done for them. They know love can be real without being soft. And boundaries can be acts of devotion, not cruelty. The war isn't over. Maybe it never will be. But today, our house is quiet. The binder stays in the drawer. And tonight, as I tuck Lily into bed and turn off the light, she whispers, "I like it better now." And I believe her. Because peace, even peace in pieces, is still peace. And we earned every shattered bit of it.